Welcome into another edition of the Brian Gregory Show. Jim Lighthall along with the head coach, Brian Gregory himself. Welcome to the new year, 2021. The calendar has rolled over. It's been almost a month, Coach, since we sat down and did this. I know you've been jonesing to get back to this table and talk Bulls basketball, so let's get right to it.
It's been a pleasurable month.
Has it really? Okay. Well,
No.
we're in conference play,
Yep.
and you're going a mile a minute right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was on with the media earlier today, and we'd just be ending non-conference play with
that's
the amount
true.
of games that we've played. And it's just been the biggest. It's a challenge. It really is a challenge. And I think the one thing that goes unnoticed is what a challenge it is for the players. You know, what we're asking these guys to do on a daily basis, to still then go out and try to perform at a high level, not just with our team, but through teams throughout the country.
Yeah.
They've done an unbelievable job. They really have done an unbelievable job. You see some rough patches in games because of it, but in the big picture, in the big scheme of things, the guys have done a tremendous, tremendous job. And you know, we have to use these hard-fought, highly competitive games to try to continue to grow and make some decisions and see some different things. And that adds to the challenge for the guys as well. But overall, you know, we've played pretty good basketball. I think we can play better. I think there's a maturity level that we need to continue to kind of talk about and get our guys to. And if we can do that, we can continue to move forward.
Well, you've won 2 of 3 since the calendar did roll over. We'll talk about those 3 games. There's a lot to get to here on this show as well. I want to talk about the three-point shooting, the three-point defense. Michael Durr has played really well. Caleb Murphy has 2 Freshman of the Week honors since the last time we sat down and talked. But let's go back to the last game that you played, which was against East Carolina on Saturday, January the 9th. Never an easy trip going to Greenville, North Carolina, and you get an East Carolina team that was 7-2, but they had a lot of question marks. I don't know if you knew what you were getting into that day.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. We're 1-2 there heading into that game on Saturday, and I just remember, you know, maybe the lowest point of my first year here when we made that trip there, and they beat us by about 50.
Right.
And it was a debacle. In every sense of the word, from the coaching to the playing to the travel to the, we had a couple guys wouldn't practice, you know what I mean, and now we're at a much different point, obviously, but they're very good because they play for 40 minutes. They're probably 2 phases below us in the rebuilding phase.
I was going to say the same thing because when Joe Dooley took the job, I really felt his first year felt a lot like your first year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. You know, they had a big win. They upset Cincinnati at home his first year. We beat Memphis on the road. You know, so and then the rest was just, you know, a train wreck in a lot of things. You know, but you're just trying to build it and build some continuity and build some core values and different things. And they're good. At 7-2, they've beaten some good teams. They've won close games, which is a big step. And they got one of the premier players in the league, in Gardner, who's always, last year without Yetna playing for us really hurt us in both games.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that was going to be, a battle. White, their point guard, played well against us at their place last year. Suggs has dramatically improved. Miles has dramatically improved. They're just a better team. They're playing better together. They're going to win games in this league. Because they fight, they compete. And as I said, in those early stages of building the program, those are the most important things. We knew, there was a little bit of we had to fight through some stuff because of our disappointing shooting performance against Tulsa. And there was kind of an after effect in that first half. But then when you made a couple shots, things changed. Now, the thing I was most happy with was the first half, we did not score the ball well, but we defended extremely well.
They never got away from you.
And we did it for all 20 minutes. And that's a sign of maturity, and that we need to have that because in this league, Jim, you are going to have some offensive struggles, even if you're good offensively, Because every team in this league, for the most part, has built their reputation on physical, tough defense. Houston, Wichita State, when UConn was in the league, Cincinnati, Tulsa.
Yep.
Go down. Now, there's a couple outliers.
Yep.
But for the most part, when you think of Cincinnati, you think of WWF. You know what I mean? It is a hard-fought, foul-plagued game. So there's times you're not going to be able to score. So you got to have the maturity to play the defense, irregardless if you're getting rewarded on the other end. We got to take that step. I thought that was good for us on Saturday because I didn't think we did that so much in the Tulsa game, in particular the start of the game and the start of the second half. But in the East Carolina game, I thought we did.
So a tale of two halves, really, in Greenville. You score 25 points in the first half. You score 44 points in the second half. And you talk about maturity. Justin Brown, who was white hot in the month of December shooting the basketball, had missed 12 threes in a row going back to the Tulsa game and then the first half of the East Carolina game. Then he comes out and bangs down 3 threes in a row, Coach, and it absolutely energized your entire team.
Yeah, it's funny. The 3-ball does that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's worth 3 points, but sometimes, Jim, it feels a lot more, especially when you've struggled. You go back two nights earlier, and it was a struggle all the way around. So, but he's got to keep shooting them. He's got to shoot them with confidence. I told him with about 10 minutes to go in the Tulsa game, you're going to make a couple big ones for us before this night is out. I didn't know it was going to be 3 days, but he did. And he's one of the best in all time in the history of our program. So you got to keep getting him open shots, and he's got to shoot them with confidence. And it just made a big, obviously it made a big difference. That basket looked a lot bigger. Dave shot more threes in the East Carolina game than he has all year long, which is something that I've been on him about. I need him thinking shot when he doesn't have the ball. So when he gets it, he's ready to shoot. You can't make shots if you're not thinking shot. And he's off the ball, and he's got to be able to move and get in position to shoot it. He started the game with 2 air balls, and they were the best air balls I've ever seen.
Why is that?
Because he was ready to shoot, and he shot it quick.
Yeah.
He shot it with speed. He shot it with assertiveness. He shot it with confidence. He didn't hit the rim on either one. That happens, all right? So keep shooting. He goes 2 for 3 after that, and that's what we need. That's what we need. We can't always defer to the power drives. We got to when you're off the ball, if you get an open shot, JB, David, X, Chap, guys like that, Lex, you got to be ready to shoot, and you got to shoot it like you mean it. And if you do that, you're going to shoot a better percentage.
You mentioned Jaden Garner. The kid's a total stud in this league, a double-double machine. He did get 10 points and 10 rebounds, but he was not much of a factor in the game in that he went 3 for 9. And it's amazing what Alexis Yetna brings to you, not only on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, to bang with a guy like that.
Yeah, and the other thing that's happened now is our 5 men can guard him. Mike now as a junior can guard him. And if you remember last year here, he guarded him and did a pretty good job on him. Russell can guard him. And that makes a big difference because when they downsize and they play him at the 5, he's been able to take advantage of 5 men with his speed and ability to stretch. And then, so that was a good sign, and I think it was important that Lex was able to, when he was guarding him, to do a great job.
Russell Chiwa, by the way, bless you.
Oh, boy.
Russell Chiwa, by the way, Coach, 7 points, 5 rebounds in 11 minutes. I mean, if he gives you that kind of 11 minutes every night, you're going to be golden.
Nah, that was a great performance by Russell, and he's in big trouble now.
Because you're going to expect it every night.
That's what has to happen every night, because I challenged him after the Tulsa game. You can't play 13 minutes at his size and get 1 rebound. And when he's in there, that means one of the league's best rebounders in Michael Durr is out. So we can't have a drop-off, and so I thought he really responded well.
We touched on the Tulsa game. You've touched on it here and there. You really struggled that night to shoot the basketball. Go back to January 2nd in UCF. It was a great environment, because there were fans here in the building. And then it's just always charged when USF and UCF hook up. It goes basically down to the wire as it normally does. You get a performance that you needed because, A, you win the first of 2 games against them, but also you've been on record as saying how important this game is, and I love that it's a rivalry game, and maybe it is a little bit more important.
Yeah, and I think our guys responded. I always just talk to them about, when this game's over, people got to leave the arena and say, hey, man, that game was you could feel that game was important to the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a feeling. It doesn't always mean you're going to play great. It may not even mean you win the game. But the people have to leave here knowing that, man, that game means something to them. And I think that's one of the first steps in not only building the rivalry, but building your own program. You know what I mean? And I think our guys did that for sure. And we got a great performance from David Collins defensively and offensively. We did a lot of good things defensively. We were really good in the second half, and we took advantage of some stuff offensively, and got a lot of good basketball from a lot of guys.
Collins had 19 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. He turned the water off on Brandon Mahan, who had 1 for 3 from the floor, didn't even attempt a 3-point shot, leading scorer in the league. I loved what Xavier Castaneda did at both ends of the floor that day.
Well, the one thing you got to look at X now, he's almost our 6th starter. He's playing starter minutes. We expect starter production. As an upperclassman, he's able to come in for any 3 of the perimeter players, and we're able to move things around, which gives us great flexibility. And because of his experience, what it's allowed Caleb Murphy to do is get some more reps at the point guard spot in practice, which he needs. And not only the reps, but also the preparation stuff. Because the difference between high school and college when it comes to your game prep is like worlds apart.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the biggest things guys struggle with. And if he's at a 50% clip in those preparation, he wouldn't be where he's at right now. But because of X's, experience, Caleb's able to get 75% of the reps during that time, where X gets 25 at that spot and 25 at the other spot, and it's made a big difference in Caleb's development.
Well, you're not afraid to play those 2 guys together on the floor, just like you did last year with Q and X at the same time. I love it. You can never have too many point guards on the floor.
No, you can. And the one thing that both those guys have really gotten better at is sometimes if you have multiple point guards, those guys don't play well without the ball because they're just so accustomed to having the ball. But both those guys have done a really good job of playing off the ball. X is, shooting the ball from the 3 as well as anybody in the league right now.
Yeah. 68-61, the final score for UCF that day at the Ingling Center to kick off the new year. Well, we have a lot to talk about as we continue on. We will hear from athletic trainer Greg Byrd coming up. His job has become extremely complicated this season. We'll get you an update on that. And then the big guy down low, Michael Durr, will join us a little bit later on. He's Brian Gregory. I'm Jim Lighthall. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Brian Gregory Show as we continue on. USF getting ready for more AAC action. 11th ranked Houston is coming up, Coach. We'll talk about that bunch in just a little bit. They are as good as anybody in the country with or without Caleb Mills, and we'll talk about their personnel in just a moment. I want to talk about Michael Durr because we've mentioned him here and there throughout the first few minutes of the show, but 5 straight double-digit rebounding games. He's an upperclassman now. He's a junior. He's played a ton of basketball, and we're really starting to see this pay off.
Yeah, we really challenged him about the rebounding because down the road, that's the one statistic that translates levels. If you're a great college rebounder, you're gonna be able to rebound at the next level. It's just something that's unique and sets you apart. So he's done a good job of embracing that. There's no doubt about it. He's dramatically improved, one of our best free throw shooters. His freshman year, he was at 50%. We changed his shot. Sometimes the most important thing when you do that is the guy's got to believe that and trust you in that. So he changed it, and he's worked on it, and he got up to 60. Now he's at high 70s, almost 80%. So, he works. He's in the gym every morning doing extra stuff to get better. The biggest challenge he faces that we need him to do right now is he needs to finish more plays around the basket. At 7 foot, you got to be a 50% shooter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And a little bit is still some lower body strength. At 7 foot, The balance thing is a big thing. He's got a nice jump shot. He hasn't. I think he's only made 1 out of 13, 17 shots from outside of 15 all year long. But to be honest with you, when he's open, I want him shooting it. That's the only way he's going to start making them in games, is knows that the coach has confidence in him to shoot it. But he's been impactful. There's no doubt about it. But I do think that, there was some games where he's at 34 minutes. That's too many.
Mm-hmm.
At that size with the banging that he does. And we ask our big guys, they got to sprint to court. They got to sprint to screen. They got to hedge on ball screens a lot. So they're not just sitting in the low post doing nothing.
Yeah.
They got to be on the move. And one of his greatest abilities is his ability to move that body. And when he's at the 26 to 30-minute mark, he's more effective and more efficient.
He's so active down low, offensively and defensively. The 2 offensive rebounds he had against UCF in the waning 90 seconds basically decided that game. Got offensive rebounds and stickbacks.
Well, and it goes back to what I was saying is we need him fresh at the end of the game.
Okay.
One of the things that we're trying to do is physically and mentally wear our opponents down. And you look at some of our biggest wins, end the game, we're getting offensive rebounds, we're scoring in the post, the Cincinnati game, like you said, the UCF game. There was a couple possessions in East Carolina, we get 2-3 offensive rebounds in the last 8 minutes. That's South Florida basketball. That's what we need to do, and Mike's been in the lead charge of that.
One of the phrases that I've heard about great rebounders is that every rebound is potentially theirs until it's actually grabbed by someone else. And that's a lot of it is up here, isn't it?
Yeah, I say the only area that you're allowed to be selfish in our program is rebounding.
Okay.
It's the only area you're allowed to be selfish. And so you better think everyone is yours. Now, again, you have Lex right at 9. You have him at around 10. Like JB had such good numbers last year. He's in there, but those guys take it. They're getting it first.
Right.
So that, and I've always said, I think I mentioned it. When Lex led the league in rebounding, every team I've coached has always been a good rebounding team, but we've never had anybody with averaging 9, 10, 11 because we're kind of a gang rebounding team where all 5 guys have to do it. I think we're still that. But those 2 guys, Mike in particular this year, is just so special at it that their numbers are tremendous.
Let's shift gears and talk about three-point shooting, both offensive and defensive. Prior to the Tulsa game, you were the leading team in the league in three-point field goal percentage, which if I'd have told you that 2 or 3 years ago, I don't know if you would have believed me because this team for years and years have struggled to shoot threes. In fact, you have to go all the way back to the 01-02 season. The last time a team was shooting at this kind of clip. So what has changed for you from beyond the arc? Has philosophy changed for you at all?
Not really. I mean, I want guys comfortable shooting them. I want guys shooting them when they're open. I think the guys have worked really, really hard on their shooting. I think we take better shots.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't think David shoots enough. We don't have guys that just jack them up. You know what I mean? They occur within the offense and when they're created by someone else off a drive and kick. We don't run a lot of set plays where the goal is to we have better catch and shoot spot up guys than we have guys sprinting off of screens, catching and turning into the shot. You know what I mean? So again, it's something that's important to us. We know that our ability to put those threes in and shoot at a high percentage is critical because you lose the Tulsa game, all you got to do is make a couple more. Yep. You know what I mean? And those were good looks. We talked about it after the game and in the video analysis. We didn't take any bad ones. Mm-hmm. We really didn't. And so you got to put those in. But it's an area that is critical in college basketball now.
You have to shoot it.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. You have to. It's a great equalizer. And here's the thing. You have to shoot them even if you're not shooting a great percentage. Okay? Houston does not shoot a good percentage. Mm-hmm. but they get the shots up on the rim, so now they can go offensive rebound. And the other thing that like a team like Houston does, those other guys know who's shooting them, so they get ready to rebound because that kid ain't passing, he's shooting it.
Right.
And it's an area that I think we can learn from a great team and get better at.
Going back to Michael Durr, entry passes and paint touches are important in this dynamic because it collapses defenses and allows good looks on the perimeter. I don't think it's any coincidence that David Collins right now, Xavier Castaneda, and Justin Brown for most of the season are ahead of Reggie Cohn's pace for the best three-point shooting season in USF history. But it starts with sometimes a paint touch and a kick out for a good look.
Yeah, so it's either paint touch off a drive, which we've gotten better at driving and kicking, and the area we've gotten better at is moving without the ball. There was times last year because LaQuincy was a ball-dominant guard, David is a ball-dominant guard in a lot of ways, that when one guy drives, four guys watch. You got to move. You got to flow. You got to get to a drift. You got to get to open window, whatever. Those are our terminology, so you don't necessarily know what all those mean. The guys do. But basically, you can't stand around and watch.
Yeah, you got to relocate.
You got to relocate.
Right.
That's what they used in the 70s.
Yes.
Good call. Okay. We've advanced a little bit.
Good. We're getting there.
You got the drift. You got the flow. You got the open window. You got the pocket. You got the Peter. You got the corner drift. You got all that stuff. But you got to move.
Yeah.
You got to move, and we've gotten better at that.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm not sure. Well, I am sure. Reggie's a better shooter than all three of those guys. His numbers would be really good for us because we would get him a lot of open shots. You know what I mean? Plus, he was a guy that could come off of screens and just rise up and fire.
All he had to do was get to the logo, and he was in range.
Yeah. I think we might have some guys that think the same thing, but they haven't necessarily proven it. But so those are things that help your offense, and we have willing passers when we throw it into the post. A big thing for us last year when we played Houston was to get the ball inside. Now, Houston is going to post trap every time you throw the ball in the post. So now our 5-man or our 4-men become our point guards. They got to take the trap, get it out of the trap, and attack the scramble on the backside. And we got some good looks. We got some layups, open threes. So because they're getting trapped, those guys have to realize they're not scoring. But now they're the playmakers for us. And both Mike and Lex are pretty good passers out of the post. And Russell's getting better.
So, three-point defense. You're holding teams to less than 29% from beyond the arc. This is something that's you've done this for a few years now. This is the best that a USF team has done in the last 25 years. We'll see if it holds up. But you use a term a lot, and I want you to explain it to the folks at home, running people off the line. Tell them what that means.
Yeah, so we have 3 different terminologies for what kind of player we're defending. A rondo, after Rajon Rondo, that means he can't shoot a lick. And that means you're a heavy help guy. You don't have to recover quickly to him. He's going to drive it. We have a Wade, after Dwayne Wade. That means he's a do-both guy, meaning he can shoot the 3 or he can drive it. So you have to have our classic disciplined closeouts on him, where you're in the gap, you're stunt, and you recover arm length away with a high hand. We have a theory that's been proven. If a guy shoots a shot and your hand is up prior to his shot motion, he's going to shoot 15 percentage points less.
Okay.
If as he shoots it, now your hand goes up, it has no bearing on the shot at all. None. So that's 15%. That's a big number. Then our third category is a Curry. That does not mean we guard him and not help on, but that means in our help position, if the ball is coming towards you, you are getting back to him immediately. And your job on Curry's is to chase him off the line. So when you're recovering to him, either in the strong side or from a weak side, you must fly at him to the point where he cannot shoot that 3. You chase guys off the line off of ball screens with our hedge coverage, but a lot of times it's off. And any shooter that can shoot coming off of screens, we're always lock and trail, where we're chasing him again. And what we want, the premise is for us to force tough twos.
Mm-hmm.
Teams over 40 minutes may make some, but not enough to beat you. And it's been it's been effective. I think the biggest thing is if you watch our practices, every time a guy catches the ball, you hear 20 guys in the gym screaming high hand, high hand, high hand, because it's just you have to do it every day and you have to build it every day. And the freshmen are the ones that struggle the most at it. If you ever see a guy hit a three and the guy who was guarding him still has his hand up, that meant it was up late.
Yeah.
And he's trying to show you it was up, but it didn't matter because it was too late.
Before we get to Houston and previewing that game coming up this week, speaking of freshmen, Caleb Murphy, back-to-back Freshman of the Week awards in the American Conference. There's only 2 guys that have done that in the history of this school, and now Caleb Murphy joins them.
Yeah, he's having a great freshman year.
Yeah.
Maybe even better than people thought he would have, because he's been able to pick stuff up. He's been able to impact games, every game he's played in a positive way. There's some areas of his game he needs to improve in. There's no doubt about it. But he's a coachable kid. He plays hard,
mm-hmm.
and he's got some elite skill. And you add those together with a veteran, a group that has played minutes around him. It's made it a little easier for him. But at the same time, I think his giftedness shows in games.
He's going to need it when you face Houston, because they're a bunch that's super deep. Caleb Mills, preseason player of the year, has entered the transfer portal. But, Coach, they have so many other weapons. They rebound so well. They defend so well. And they're just tough kids.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest. I love Caleb Mills. I think he's a great player.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. But he wasn't even first-team All-League last year. Mm. And I don't know how you can vote him as the preseason player of the year when you got Gardner coming back, who should have been the player of the year last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot depends on who you play for.
Yeah, but at the same time, those are just projections. I didn't vote for him, and that doesn't mean I voted for him as a first-team All-League player. You know what I mean? But when you have Rachel coming back from Tulsa, when you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, but they're still loaded. They still got 3 high-level guards and 2 backups that are freshmen are going to be really good players. Whenever you have Sasser, whenever you have Giroux, and when you have Mills, you got a pretty dynamic backcourt, and their DNA doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
Now Caleb was a little different than their normal guys. Not as physical, not as gritty, high-level player, but just different, and that helped them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but the guys they got are DNA Houston Cougars through and through.
And Kelvin Sampson's really good at coaching them. He's got a system, and it just works.
Yeah, it's funny because when I'm able to take a step back, and he's told me this, and I've told him this, anytime we don't play, I'm pulling for him. And he sent me text messages on our wins and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
He got his start under Coach Heathcote. I got my start under Coach Heathcote. I just saw a picture of him today in Twitter with the Michigan State Sports Camp T-shirt on, which was, the white T-shirt with the green ribbing. It was just atrocious. But I mean, there's the toughness, the defense, and the rebounding, and they're going to do things the right way all the time, and they've done it so long now. It's just who they are.
Yeah.
It's who they are.
3 straight NCAA tournament appearances for them, 5 straight in the postseason. Houston Cougars will be here inside the Yuengling Center coming up Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Coach, I'm going to let you go. I'll see you in a couple weeks. We'll recap this game, East Carolina, Wichita State. All those games will happen in the next couple weeks, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's Bulls head coach Brian Gregory. We'll take a timeout. We will continue on the Brian Gregory Show right after this. Welcome back to the Brian Gregory Show, joined now by junior center Michael Durr, who has sat down with us for a few minutes. Mike, first of all, good to see you again. I don't get to travel and eat with you guys. I don't get to see you as much, so I appreciate you giving us a little bit of time. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, 7-5 right now on the season. You guys got a big win on the road against East Carolina. Tell me how things have been going for you. What's going on in that locker room? How you feel about the year so far?
I feel like we let a few games go, but like I feel like we're on the right step, like with building, And I feel like we have a good chance with this game on Thursday and the games moving forward. So I'm just looking forward to it.
You got to be happy to get a shot at a top 25 team. I mean, it's always a little bit different when a ranked team comes in your building, right?
It's always different, but it's a huge opportunity. So.
Going back to last year a little bit, Alexis Yetna gets hurt. You know, a lot of the burden fell on your shoulders to do a lot of rebounding, but now he's back.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to get 8-9 rebounds a game. How much has that helped you?
It's helped me tremendously because, you know, like you said last year, a lot of the burden was on me, so I would get double teamed on getting box stopped by two people and all type of things like that. So it's not that easy for them to do things like that this year. And I've now had about five games in a row with double-digit rebounds, so it's helped me a lot.
Coach was really singing your praises earlier on in the show about rebounding and how much of that is a mental attitude, how much rebound sometimes is just want to.
Yeah, it's always. I mean, whoever wants it the most is gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like you just have to go get it.
Your 5 straight double-digit rebounding games, the most at this school since Kentro Gransberry did it, and that was about 15 years ago. That guy got about everything. You kept your hands and feet away from him at feeding time because, I mean, he got everything that was loose. So that's some pretty elite company right there. Let's go back a little bit to your days in Georgia. You're one of 4 guys on this roster from the state of Georgia. Tell me why Georgia basketball is just a little bit different.
It's different because, you know, I don't know. It's very different. We have a lot of talented guys, and if you look at like the NBA, we have a lot of guys who came out of Georgia. A lot of the guys that are doing good things in college came out of Georgia. I just think that it's a multi-sport state, but basketball is very good there.
I mean, they get so much ink for football, but I don't think people realize how many good basketball players are coming out of that state. Every night when I'm looking down a roster, even on the opposing team, there's always somebody from Georgia that's there. So the talent is widespread. How did you end up going from Georgia to Tampa? I know that there was a Georgia Tech connection there at one point.
There was a Georgia Tech connection for sure. BG Heron and Coach Dollar, who's at UGA now, they were recruiting me since I was 9th, 10th grade, and they were at Georgia Tech at the time. So over the years, you know, we just kept our relationship, and then when they got the job here, I was down here in prep school anyway, so I just decided to come here because I felt comfortable with it.
So you were at one time Oldsmar Christian, and then you go to Victory Rock Prep in Bradenton. You and Madut Ketch come from the same place. Did Madut steer you here? Did you steer Madut here? Did the two of you come together as a package? How did that work?
I actually was committed here before I went to Victory Rock, but shortly after I went to Victory Rock, and then, you know, obviously the coaches come down and see me, and they saw Madut and liked him, so he decided to come here. You know, we already had a good relationship, and it's close to home for him, so, you know, it was a good idea.
When you start talking about all the Georgia guys and it's time to drive home, who's driving? Is one guy drive and everybody rides, or does everybody scatter when they go back to Georgia?
I say we scatter. We fly too, but on the way back here, all of us was on the same exact flight.
Okay.
So, you know.
You got a pretty good group there with Jameer and Rayshawn and obviously and yourself and everybody else. It just seems like that state has been very good to this program, and Brian Gregory and Tom Harrion recruit that area very well. I'm sure that you help recruit, the players help recruit high school kids right along with the coaches.
Yeah, of course. You know, they come on visits, and then, you know, since we all played in the same state, the younger guys know you, they know of you.
Right.
And so, you know, it just come together.
How cool was it to play in State Farm Arena earlier this year, the home of the Hawks?
It was cool. That was my first time playing at home since I was in high school, so that was a very good experience. Just being at home. We down here all the time, so we have very little time. So it was a good moment.
I know you guys wanted to play LSU that day. You ended up playing Wofford. It was a close game, and you wanted to have all your friends and family there. That didn't really work out. Kind of strange, though, right?
Very strange, very strange. But we knew coming to the season it was going to be a little crazy, so we just prepared for it.
When you look at this roster now, as we're talking with Michael Durr, Russell Chiwa is a big addition to this program. Basically the same size as you. He's a transfer, comes in. How has he impacted your game? Because I would think practice-wise, you're going against someone that's the same size as you, same athleticism as you. That's got to make you a better player, right?
Oh, ever since Russell has came here, I've become a better player because, okay, like all the previous years, we haven't had people who were my exact size. They may have been older, but they weren't as tall as me and things like that with the same amount of length. So when Russell came and all the practice time that we had, summer workouts. It just helped me become a better player.
I want to talk about your free throw shooting as well, because Coach brought it up, and I just absolutely rave about it on air. 53% your freshman year, 63% your sophomore year. You're at 76% at the free throw line right now in your junior season. What happened? How did this transformation take place? Because it was around midway through your sophomore year, you flipped a switch and you're a different free throw shooter.
Honestly, it's just repetition, man. Like anything in life, I feel you want to be good at, you have to do it over and over and over again. And I know that there's something big for me as a big guy. You have to be able to knock down free throws, and people like that. So I just decided to really key in on that.
Did you change your form at all? Did you change your routine? Because everybody talks about free throw shooting. It's like a golf swing. It's got to be the same every single time.
Well, when I first got here, like I would say a quarter way into my freshman season, I changed my routine. And I just kept just working on it. And as you like you said, every year my percentage has rose. So
I love the time that you take at the line too. I mean, it's not a rush job at all. You're up there thinking, what's going through your head? What are you thinking?
Just focusing. It's free throws. It's no rush. It shouldn't be no rush. Just take your time and knock down the shot. It's free throws. That's my approach to it. It's nothing going through my head. Just keying in on my routine and knocking down the shot.
Well, it's a 15-foot shot, plain and simple. And, everything we've heard and everything we've seen here over the last 2.5 years, your jump shot's getting better and better. You're taking that 15 to 17 to 18-foot jumper. That's a shot that's comfortable for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's comfortable. And just me working on it every day, the coaches and players feeling comfortable with me taking that shot is just helping me improve.
Speaking of comfort, I've seen you go over either shoulder basically since you got here. Left hand over the right shoulder, right hand over the left shoulder. Are you just as comfortable either way now?
No, yes. I'm comfortable either way, and that's just something when I was young, even with just dribbling or just it's good to be able to do things with either hand so you won't be one-dimensional.
The last thing you want to be is predictable in this game, right? So as soon as film gets out and sometimes a big guy can't go to his left or whatever, you don't want to be that guy.
No.
Yeah. When you came here, I want to say you were around 219 pounds. Does that sound about right?
That's right on point when I enrolled here in the summertime.
Now you're 250 plus.
Yes.
What happened over that stretch to get you to that size? I know there was a lot of eating and a lot of lifting, but what else?
That's it. It was a lot of eating. With being in college, you have a lot of more things accessible to you. So once I started eating more, my weight picked up, and of course the strength program here.
That's the one thing I think that guys don't get really when they're in high school is how big the nutrition aspect is. Just eating 3 meals a day and eating the right stuff that's going to help put that bulk on you. When you got here with the strength and conditioning program and the coaches got a hold of you, were they surprised at your strength? Were they not surprised at your strength? Because a lot of times big guys, although they're big guys, maybe they lack strength.
I mean, I wouldn't say they were surprised because I think they knew where I was at. And we talked throughout the recruiting process and before I got here, we talked about our plans when it came to my weight and strength. So I just felt like they had a plan in place for me, and we just stuck with it.
So you knew you weren't going to play at 219 your whole career. You knew you were going to put on weight. So when you went back home, everybody's like, whoa.
Yeah. My family was like, oh, you gained weight. You look bigger now. Same stuff.
You got the nickname Juice or Big Juice. Where'd that come from?
My teammates,
You kind of sound like you're not all in on it.
No, I'm all in.
Okay.
All in, but just my teammates, they just gave me the nickname.
I guess everybody's got a nickname, and that's the one that's been hung on you, and you probably hung some on other guys too, haven't you?
Of course. Of course, that's how it goes.
Well, Mike, good luck the rest of the way. We love watching you grow and get bigger and stronger and more skilled. Appreciate you giving us a few minutes here on the show.
No problem, anytime.
All right, that's Michael Durr from the great state of Georgia. We will continue on the Brian Gregory Show after this. Welcome back to the Brian Gregory Show as we wind things down. Bulls getting ready for the Houston Cougars, and they got to be healthy and ready for that game because that's a physical bunch. Athletic trainer Greg Byrd joins us for a quick word. Greg, first of all, Senior Associate Athletic Director. I want to make sure I get that full title to you. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
I really miss sitting and eating with you and traveling with you. This year with the pandemic and stuff, it's kind of taken me out of the equation on road games. But you and I have sat and We've eaten a lot of meals together, rode on airplanes together, and sat in many terminals side by side. So
up and down the road.
yeah, and I've gotten a lot of good stories out of you. So we'll try and get a few here and there throughout the course of this. Jackson, Mississippi guy, 10 years now at USF, I believe.
Yep.
Your story is quite unique in the fact that you were the first graduating class from the College of Medicine here that was a student trainer.
Yep.
And you've parlayed that now into a job at this same institution. Talk about that journey.
So it's been a great journey. A lot of hard work. Twists and turns, things you expect, things you don't. USF's always been great to me. We had a great opportunity as students to go through a program that was evolving and changing and really leading the nation from that standpoint. We've got a lot of access to great things here, and I just tried to soak up as much knowledge as I could and turn it into active skills. And when opportunities arise, jobs and different things of that nature, you try to get back where you enjoy being. And Steve, my boss, Steve Walls, our director of sports medicine, he's great. He doesn't micromanage. He lets me be me. He's always let me be me through the times I was a student to now, and really just be creative and try to use all of my skills. And I'm blessed that I was able to come back and be here for this long.
Well, someone must have seen something in you because you were the athletic training student of the year in 2008. Now, I call this the HIPAA Heisman. That's what I call it. But you do turn this into a job at USF that's covered a lot of different sports. You did some time at Florida State as well. I love listening to your track and field stories because you have a lot of those. But you've had your hands in a lot of different things before you ever even got to basketball.
Yeah. Track and field was kind of where I got my start. Moving from here, I did a lot of track in undergrad along with football and men's soccer, and then converted that into the graduate assistantship at Florida State. Worked with track and football there for 2 years. I've worked at Division II school as an interim head athletic trainer at Division II school for a year, so I worked all sports. And then coming back here to USF, it initially as an assistant athletic trainer, came in with track. Worked a bit of men's soccer for a season. We needed some help there, and then it's transitioned back into track, and now into football, basketball. And we all pitch in a little bit with football, I think, for home games, visitor sideline coverage, and stuff like that.
So tell me about the call or email or text that you got and said from Brian Gregory or whoever it came from, it said, "We need you here in the men's basketball program."
Well, I've just, like I said, I've been really blessed over the years, and I appreciate every opportunity I've ever gotten. And Steve and Coach Gregory, have been great for me and giving me this opportunity to do this. So I thank them for trusting me. I thank the players for trusting me. At the end of the day, you want to be part of a team and really trying to contribute at a high level. It pushes us all, I think, every day. We got the same motivations from that standpoint, internal, motivations to try to be good at what you do and help others. That's the biggest thing. And I felt like I can do that here, and I'm super pleased and happy to get that call and appreciative of Coach for letting me ride with the team.
I don't think people realize that probably of everyone on staff, the coaching staff, and then you don't miss 1 second of practice of games because you have to have your eyes on everything at all times. And then your entire professional world changed in March with the pandemic. Talk about how that has changed what you do on a daily basis. I don't know if you tape more ankles now or if you give more COVID tests.
So I'll probably give more COVID tests, honestly. COVID. Wow. We've had, the rest of the job doesn't stop. And that's probably been one of the hardest things is that, people still get hurt on top of all the COVID things. It takes up a significant amount of time. Here, I think we're doing a really good job with it. We test daily. We have rapid antigen tests pretty much every day. We have 2 PCRs a week. The rapid antigens, our staff here is tasked with running those tests, and the PCRs the lab does for us. USF, we talked about resources earlier, a great network and resources. Our research lab here has helped us tremendously to be able to do those PCRs twice a week. But it does, a lot of the education piece, it's repetitive education. Because this is just not something anyone was used to. It evolves, it changes every day. Some of the new information you get in, some of the concerns, the turnover on how fast decisions have to be made, whether it's quarantining. Okay, was that a false positive? What do we need to do with meals? What do we need to do with travel? That stuff can really kind of spin at any moment, and just takes a lot of understanding from everyone, and a team effort really. So I think our staff works super hard at it, and again, it comes down at every university. It'll come down to how the coaches approach it, and I've been fortunate here with Coach Gregory and the staff, just being understanding of what we're going through, and open to talk about things, and change plans on at the last minute, and so it's been a task. I'll tell you that much.
Speaking of travel, taking this show and production, this basketball team on the road, is a Herculean task. Not only are you worrying about your guys, but now you're worrying about everyone who comes in contact with your guys.
Yeah. And that goes down to the education. You know, if we're fortunate to be able to take charter planes to a lot of trips, but there's no way to limit really the interaction if we take a commercial flight, or if you're out and about, at the arena. I think the arenas do a good job of keeping everyone away. But you just never know when someone's going to bump in, and we just tell the kids all the time, wear your mask, try to keep your distance. It's really probably more home than anything else, because they have to live like everyone else. They have to go grab food and go to the gas station and things of that nature. So we just really educate them on trying to protect themselves as best as possible. And at the end of the day, I think people realize what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish, and especially fans and everything have been super supportive and good at trying to help the guys do what they need to do.
I know you have a lot of help too with the program here at USF that they have going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got our student program. We've got a lot of different things. We got interns from different areas of campus, and we test everybody. So it's good that we've still been able to be inclusive and have that network with our programs, especially our student athletic training program. They've been able to jump right in and really haven't missed much of a beat, I don't think, and are super helpful. So I don't know. We're rolling through it.
Well, we appreciate everything you do for certain, and I can't wait to get back on the road again with you next year. I will say this. Competitive eating could be a future for this guy. He doesn't look big, but good heavens, can he put food away? He's got two hollow legs. I've never seen anyone eat pancakes like you can eat.
Pancakes and bacon.
You do not get cheated when you sit down.
Yeah. Bacon comes out. I'll tell you, if I go down and it's because of bacon, I'm going down happy. So.
Greg, always appreciate the time. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
All right, Greg Byrd, athletic trainer here for the men's basketball program. That'll do it for this edition of the Brian Gregory Show. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again in a couple weeks.